As Gage, the funeral tech, lowered the casket into the ground, I closed my eyes. I'd cried myself out. I'd cried when I realized she was dying, in such horrible pain that she couldn't even scream at the hospital. I'd cried as I sucked the life out of her burned and crisped body, ending that pain. And I'd cried till my bloody tears left irremovable stains on my sheets. Now the tears were gone, and I just wanted to punish the arsonist responsible for Cassandra's death, and the deaths of the others who had perished in the flames. Gage glanced at me. The tech might as well be nameless and faceless for all I knew him, though I knew he was a werewolf. He worked for the funeral home where we'd made Cassandra's arrangements. We'd limited our transactions with them to buying her casket and paying for her care. She had once told me she wanted to be buried in a simple pine box, unprotected from the elements. She didn't want her body to outlast time. So we'd ordered a hand-carved coffin that was untreated, that would give her up to the earth as it broke down. We'd arranged for Gage to lower the casket, but we'd taken care of the service ourselves. The funeral director was a soup, and he understood. He didn't try to push us into buying an armored casket that would last forever. Silence hung heavy, like fog soup, as he slowly lowered the casket into the waiting grave. Delilah and Nerissa threw roses on the coffin as it descended into the ground. Derek stared straight ahead, trying not to let anything crack his gruff demeanor. But I knew the were-badger was taking it hard. He and Cassandra had gotten on, and I suspected they'd been on their way to a romance. Tava and Digger might be vampires, but they had also been her friends, and now they watched the proceedings bleakly. Camille stepped forward and gave me a nod. I think I took hold of her hand as we recited our prayer for the dead. What was life has crumbled, what was form now falls away. Mortal chains unbind, and the soul is lifted free. May you find your way to the ancestors. May you find your path to the gods. May your bravery and courage be remembered in song and story. May your parents be proud, and may your children carry your birthright. Sleep and wonder no more. The words echoed in the night, punctuated only by the sound of the casket as it disappeared from sight. We stepped back and formed a circle around the grave, holding hands. And then, as a cloud passed over the face of the moon, Gage pushed the button on the portable stereo, and Shuffle Your Feet by the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club echoed into the night. It was Cassandra's favorite song, and it was the last time it would ever play for her in this world. I recognized the strains of the Stone Temple Pilots echoing out from the crowded club. As much as I'd wanted to hole up with my sisters and wife at home after the funeral, I had an appointment to keep. Roman was waiting for me. With what had gone on this past week, there would be no downtime for any of us, not for the foreseeable future. As I threaded my way through the room, the scent of blood hung heavy in the air. The Utopia was a new vampire club. Shikra, the owner, managed to keep on the right side of Roman's rules, albeit by a narrow margin. So all was good. No blood whores on the premises. But contracted private pets were allowed, and feeding on them was acceptable. I was still squicked out by the thought, but since the contract was a two-way street and nobody was here against their will, I couldn't impose my morals on the vamps frequenting the joint. Hell, I fed on people, although they were the dregs of society. Life was full of gray. Black and white had ceased to exist for me the day Dredge took my life and turned me. Roman was waiting for me, looking gorgeous as usual. He was wearing black leather pants, a shirt open to the navel, and a burgundy smoking jacket. His long dark hair was pulled back in a smooth ponytail, and his eyes were almost frosted over. He'd been a vampire so long. The lord of the vampire nation, son of Bloodwine, the queen of